For example, Mr. Schiff in 2017-2018 made statements such as, the Russians offered help, the campaign accepted help, the Russians gave help, and the president made full use of that help, and that is pretty damning. He also said there's clear evidence on the issue of collusion. He said, I think there's plenty of evidence of collusion or conspiracy in plain sight. Mr. Durham,
the gentleman yield?
Are those statements supported by the conclusions of the Mueller report?
The gentleman yield?
No. Mr. Durham, are those statements supported by the Mueller report?
I don't believe so.
Mr. Nadler stated, it's clear that the campaign concluded and there's a lot of evidence of that. The question is, was the president involved? Mr. Nadler also said there was obviously a lot of collusion. Mr. Durham, were those statements supported by the Mueller report?
I don't believe they are supported by the Mueller report.
For years, Adam Schiff, Jerry Nadler, and their closest Democratic allies had pushed claims of collusion, conspiracy, and corruption against President Trump. They repeated the accusations on cable news, in press releases, inside committee hearings, and everywhere in between. But today, those claims weren't just questioned. They were confronted head-on with the one thing Schiff and Nadler never expected to face again: the official findings of the Mueller report and sworn testimony under oath. Kevin Kiley did not raise his voice. He did not insult anyone. Instead, he used their own words, their own quotes, their own public statements, and smashed them against the cold, unchanging facts presented by Special Counsel John Durham. One by one, he exposed the contradictions. One by one, he forced Durham to confirm whether Schiff's, Nadler's, Swalwell's, and Ted Lieu's statements aligned with the Mueller investigation. And one by one, Durham answered the same way: no. Let's dive in.
Nadler and 3 representatives from California, Mr. Schiff, Mr. Swalwell, and Mr. Lieu, have attacked you. Ranking Member Nadler called your report a political exercise with ethical ambiguity. Mr. Lieu called you a partisan hack. However, it seems that they're taking issue not so much with the conclusions of your report as those of Mr. Mueller's report, which concluded that the investigation did not establish that members of the Trump campaign conspired or coordinated with the Russian government in its election interference activities. That conclusion directly contradicted statements made on the record by those representatives. For example, Mr. Schiff in 2017-2018 made statements such as, the Russians offered help, the campaign accepted help, the Russians gave help, and the president made full use of that help, and that is pretty damning. He also said there's clear evidence on the issue of collusion. He said, I think there's plenty of evidence of collusion or conspiracy in plain sight. Mr. Durham,
the gentleman yield?
Are those statements supported by the conclusions of the Mueller report?
The gentleman yield?
No. Mr. Durham, are those statements supported by the Mueller report?
I don't believe so.
Mr. Nadler stated, it's clear that the campaign concluded and there's a lot of evidence of that. The question is, was the president involved? Mr. Nadler also said there was obviously a lot of collusion. Mr. Durham, were those statements supported by the Mueller report?
I don't believe they are supported by the Mueller report.
Mr. Lieu stated in a press release in March of 2017, the bombshell revelation that U.S. officials have information that suggests Trump associates may have colluded with the Russians means we must pause the entire Trump agenda. We may have an illegitimate president of the United States currently occupying the White House. Mr. Durham, did the Mueller report establish that we had an illegitimate president occupying the White House?
Not to my knowledge.
Mr. Swalwell stated in 2018, in our investigation, we saw strong evidence of collusion. Did the Mueller report support that there was strong evidence of collusion?
Not to my knowledge.
Even here today, we had Mr. Schiff raise questions about your public statement during the investigation, saying this somehow violated a DOJ policy. However, Mr. Mueller himself made a public statement in January of 2019. This is an article from CNN, headline, Mueller's office disputes BuzzFeed report that Trump directed Michael Cohen to lie to Congress. So whatever policy there might exist in the DOJ with respect to public statements by special counsels, it would seem that you and Mr. Mueller would be on equal footing with respect to it. Is that correct?
It would seem so.
Mr. Nadler, Ranking Member Nadler also suggested that we're only here today because of the recent indictments of President Trump. However, you received your assignment as special counsel in 2019. Is that correct?
That's correct. 2020. The special counsel is in 2020.
In 2020. And was that before or after the events alleged in the recent indictments by the president?
That was before.
And is it customary for a special counsel to come testify in Congress upon the issuance of their report?
This is my first experience of this sort of thing. So I know that Director Mueller had occasion to testify before Congress, so I guess this is not unique.
So it's pretty likely you would have been here whether or not the president had been recently indicted.
Yes.
Contrary to Ranking Member Nadler's statement. I want to quote from you a part of your report where you say, there are reasons why, in examining politically charged and high-profile issues, the office must exercise and has exercised special care. One of those statements you said is that even when prosecutors believe that they can obtain a conviction, there are some instances in which it may not be advisable to expend government time and resources on a criminal prosecution, particularly where it could create the appearance, even if unfounded, that the government is seeking to criminalize the behavior of political opponents or punish the activities of a specific political party or campaign. Could you just expound on that a little bit, this idea that there are prudential considerations that may counsel against prosecution, even if there has been some technical violation of a statute?
Sure. The standard principles of federal prosecution include, kind of as a bedrock, that you ought not to bring a prosecution unless you believe in good faith that there's sufficient evidence to prove a case beyond a reasonable doubt, and the jury will convict, and that a conviction can be sustained on appeal. There may be those instances in which you're pretty well convinced that a crime was committed and can identify the person who committed it, but you can't in good faith say a jury is likely to convict in this case. We believe that a jury will convict and that we can sustain it on appeal. Those are the principles that we tried to apply here, that we followed here. They're the same principles I've followed for 40 years as a federal prosecutor.
In the end, everything Adam Schiff and Jerry Nadler spent years constructing came crashing down under the weight of sworn testimony and documented evidence. Their claims of clear collusion, their declarations of obvious conspiracy, their insistence that President Trump was illegitimate, all proved to be political narratives built on speculation, not facts. Schiff repeated accusations that were never supported by the Mueller investigation, while Nadler used his committee seat to reinforce talking points that collapsed the moment special counsel John Durham was asked a direct question. What unfolded in that hearing room exposed something far deeper than ordinary political disagreement. It revealed a pattern of exaggeration, manipulation, and reckless rhetoric that misled millions of Americans. Adam Schiff asserted that he had seen evidence in plain sight. Yet when pressed against the actual findings, there was nothing to support his claims. Jerry Nadler insisted there was obviously a lot of collusion, yet not a single conclusion from the Mueller report validated his assertions. Their statements did not fail because of partisanship, they failed because they were never grounded in truth. Schiff and Nadler spent years promoting a narrative that simply did not survive an encounter with real evidence. Kiley and John Durham did not expose them with opinions, they exposed them with references to their own words and by pointing directly to the absence of corroboration in the official record. At the end of the day, the collapse of Schiff's and Nadler's claims was not a political embarrassment, it was a warning about what happens when powerful members of Congress elevate speculation over proof, messaging over accuracy, and narrative over reality. Their credibility did not fall because someone attacked them, it fell because the truth finally caught up. And after this hearing, one thing is undeniable, Adam Schiff and Jerry Nadler were not just wrong, they misled the country, and the evidence proved it.